small business owners, your nervous system is costing you money, and I'm here to tell you how you can get around this. So, your nervous system is the system that is literally in your body to help keep you safe. It is a controlling, regulating, communicating system that runs through your whole body, and it feeds from your body to your brain. So when we are in a emergency situation and something goes wrong, our nervous system is triggered and our body reacts before our brain has time to think. So we might, if you were younger and ever almost touched something hot, your body realized it was hot before you got there, you pull away before your brain even has time to like register what's happened. This is your nervous system, and the whole like function of your nervous system is to keep you safe. It is to keep you in a tribe, to keep you part of a community, and to make sure that you're never cast out, because in our evolution, being cast out would instantly mean death. You know, we weren't meant to survive by ourselves. So when we look at our nervous system from a survival instinct, and then we think about moving into the place of running a business, we then start to think about how does our nervous system get triggered by running a business that doesn't actually make logical sense, because the triggering is not logical. Like when you're triggered and your nervous system comes into play, it is literally a 30 to 90 second biochemical reaction in your body. Like you are no longer in control of what happens, and the only way that we gain control and we change the trigger is by literally making the uncomfortable comfortable. Okay? Hard, I know, but we literally have to rewrite the story that we're like telling ourselves. We have to change the perspective that we're coming at everything, literally everything from. So think about this. Your nervous system is trying to take you back to normal, okay? Even if normal is not what you want. So if you have ever tried to change your diet, change your health regime, start a new like hobby or activity, it's hard. And because it's hard, your nervous system is triggered to say, this could be unsafe, this is an unknown, we don't know what's going to happen, we don't know how we're going to perform, and all of this could be dangerous. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull myself back to normal, even if normal is also discomfort, even if normal is also something that makes you unhappy. And this is one of the biggest challenges with the nervous system, is that you might be hugely unhappy, but still find it so difficult to change from that place because your nervous system is trying to keep you safe. Now, if you think about this, we have something called a hierarchy. So the same as like the hierarchy of needs, but it's like the 5 most common fears that humans have. And when you start an online business, you are triggering almost instantly 2 of these fears. And that is the fear of being seen. So it's called an ego, and you could potentially have an ego death. This is the fear. And this is about like a humiliation of like, oh, I might say something wrong, I might do something wrong, I might, you know, post something with spelling mistakes in it, I might not have the answer to a question that a client has, I might not be as articulate or fast or good at technology, or, you know, fill in the blank, whatever you're telling yourself your story is. You will be having this like ego death of like, I might not be able to show up how people expect me to, or how I expect myself to, because there's no written guidebook. And if your normal is being employed, you have a code of conduct, you have a company culture, you have a job description, you have all of these things that tell you exactly how you should behave, who you should be, what you should be doing, what you should be focusing on, you know, how you should be showing up in the world. And then suddenly you take all of that away and say, go and start a business online. It's not surprising that we have an ego death in this process. It's not surprising that we have to get really comfortable with being wrong, with trying and failing, with going first. Like, all of these things are normal for entrepreneurs. So one, you're in the right place. If you're feeling all of these things, you're in good company. But two, that's just one of the fears that's being hit, okay? So the second is the fear of separation. So if I do something dramatically wrong, or I say something that people don't like, what if everyone just like pushes back? I get trolls, my family stop talking to me, my friends like disown me. We go into this like massive worst case scenario. But this idea of separation is really scary for humans, because we have been like evolved in this community of everyone staying together. We're safer together. So when you start running a business and suddenly you're separating yourself from the workforce, you're putting yourself into this whole new category, and you're positioning yourself as like an authority in an area, it suddenly becomes so hard to make sure that you feel safe while you're doing that. Now, the danger is that these are two big fears, okay? So the danger is that you dim your light, you don't say exactly what you mean, you water down your messages, you don't post as often, maybe you don't post pictures of yourself and you only post like text graphics. You try really hard to keep yourself safe, okay? And the danger of this is that by doing this, you hit a third fear. And the third fear is loss of autonomy, loss of self, loss of being the truest version of yourself. So when we're going through this, you're basically damned if you do and damned if you don't. Because either you're triggering yourself in stepping into your power, being visible, saying the things that you want to say, you know, showing up as the authority, or you're triggering yourself by not doing that and playing in this small realm over here where you never quite feel like yourself. Both of those things are not what I want for you, okay? And I want to talk to you about how you manage your nervous system, how you expand your nervous system and create more capacity for discomfort, more capacity for being outside of your comfort zone. Now, if you're loving this content already, please subscribe to the channel. It makes such a huge difference if you subscribe and like the videos, because I know what content to create for you, which is so helpful. But secondly, if you're loving this content, I've written a 40-page guide, which is completely like outlines business, marketing, selling, and your nervous system, and why being a new online business owner can absolutely be triggering, and how you can get around it from a sales, marketing, and making money point of view. So if you want that, first link in the comment below will be access to that. You can grab a copy. But let's get into how we actually deal with our nervous systems. Okay, so if you're in a triggered situation, you might be doing some of the following things. This is like behavior that you can look out for to see if you're being triggered at the moment. So you might be writing posts, posting them, and then deleting them. Or maybe you're rewriting things a million times over and over and over before you put them out into the world. Or maybe you're just not posting at all in the world. You're not sharing anything because you feel too overwhelmed about what to share and what's right, and you know, what's the message that I have and how do I put that into words. Any of those are clear indicators that your nervous system is triggered. It could also look like feeling more tired, just like an exhaustion that is abnormal. So you sleep a full night and you're still tired when you wake up. Like, that is a triggered nervous system and it needs to be dealt with. It could also be struggling to form an idea, hold an idea, carry an idea through to the end, because we're being pushed into our like activated emotional brain so frequently that our logical brain doesn't have time to actually form and create that process. It could also be like focusing on worst case scenario, focusing on problems, focusing on things going wrong, like almost like manifesting and pulling in more drama because you're constantly focusing on like, what if everybody trolls me? What if the internet cancels me? You know, what if I don't get my point across? What if people laugh at me? Like, and you just go into this like mass overwhelm of what if everything goes wrong. Okay, so there's lots of things that can show a triggered nervous system. If you have any of those, comment below. I'd love to hear, because it's so good for people to understand that everyone has these. Yeah, everything I've mentioned to you, I've had personally myself on this journey of running my own business. My clients have had when they've started working with me. You know, this is not something that is abnormal to you, but just because it's normal doesn't mean it has to be your reality. It doesn't mean it has to be how it stays. And that's where we come onto this idea of how do we regulate our nervous system, and then how do we increase the capacity of our nervous system. Now, I don't want to make this video like 10 years long, so I'm only going to give you a couple of ideas, but in the guide that's linked below, I have got 9 ideas on how you can calm your nervous system. I'm going to go through 3 with you today. And then I've also got 4 ideas on how you can actually increase your overall capacity for your nervous system and how you deal with situations. So all of this is like really good stuff. You can download the guide. But the 3 things I want to talk to you about today with regards to calming your nervous system: breathing, like one of the most underutilized things that we have access to, and everyone has access to it. Affirmations, again, something everyone can do, but most people don't. And then gratitude, because a lot of people do gratitude, but they don't really do gratitude. And I'll talk to you more about that. So when we come to the idea of breathing, we as humans are actually extremely bad at breathing. Okay, and this is mental. So I was listening to a talk recently on Stephen Bartlett's Diary of a CEO. I'll link it below. And he was talking to a professor who has studied the way that we breathe. He's a breath expert. And he was saying that majority of people actually don't utilize their breath in the most like useful way, but also that actually we're causing a lot of damage to our systems, our nervous system, our physical body by not breathing properly. And this just blew my mind. So when we're talking about nervous system breathing, what you want to think about is when your nervous system is triggered, it is a body response that sends a signal to your brain. So if you are actually in physical danger and your fight, flight, flee response had been triggered, what you would do, and the response that your body would have, is it would shut down anything that was not useful, and it would pull resource to anything that was useful. So for instance, when we were talking at the beginning of the video about the idea of like you're about to touch something hot and then you pull your hand back really fast, that is because all of these muscles have been engaged. Yeah, your extremities, so either you can run away or you can fight like whatever's in front of you. Your extremities get all of your blood circulation. And all of your blood circulation is pulled away from things like your digestive system, your internal organs, any of your internal functions that don't seem that important while your life is in danger. Now, when we're about to post something for our business on the internet, our life isn't actually in danger. But we will have the same physical response of those biochemicals that are being fired into our body, and we might feel like everything is louder, but actually we have like tunnel vision, like we find it hard to focus on things that are far away. We might feel like we are suddenly like very warm, you know, that kind of like sweaty, clammy, like anxious feeling. All of these are signs of a triggered nervous system. Now, the beauty is we can trick our body to basically tell it we're safe. Regardless of what it actually thinks, we're safe. Regardless of whether it's an actual physical problem, like we actually have to physically run away or pull our hand away from something hot, or whether it is a mental problem, as in like we're about to post something and we feel that loss of like ego, or we feel like we might be humiliated. All of those, your body doesn't know what the problem is. It just knows that there is a problem that your nervous system feels triggered by. So things like your breath are such an incredible way of changing the dynamic of what your body's feeling. So if you feel yourself getting overwhelmed, you feel yourself getting hot and clammy, you feel yourself like, you know, getting concerned, like your brain is like shutting down, things become hard to focus on, the easiest thing for you to do, the easiest thing, is to literally put hands on body, yeah, chest and tummy, and just breathe really deeply. So you want to try and breathe in for longer than a normal breath. So you wouldn't just be going, because that's just going to stress your system out. You would literally be breathing in for like 4 or 5 counts, and then you can hold your breath and then release it, and you can release it for longer than your in-breath. So if you exhale for longer than you inhale, you are forcing your system to slow down. And realistically, if you were in a life or death situation where you had to run away from a bear, you wouldn't be putting your hands on your bodies, closing your eyes, and just breathing in a really like soothing, regulated pattern. So what you're doing is you are biochemically telling your nervous system that actually everything's okay. Now, breathing is such an amazing way, and in the guide I've got 2 breathing activities that you can go and watch videos for you. But the next thing is affirmations. So when you're doing your breathing activity, you can plug in an affirmation to that to anchor yourself and bring yourself back to that place of understanding that you are safe. So my favorite, most simple affirmation for nervous system regulation is literally hands on body, doing your breathing, eyes closed, and just repeating, I am safe. 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 And again, you're just reinforcing and telling your brain that the activity that you're taking is not something that you need to be afraid of. The activity that you're taking is something that you can handle, it's something that you can do, it's something that you can manage, it's not something to be scared of. Now, the more that you affirm and you know, give yourself that anchor point, the easier it is to then anchor yourself at a later date. So when I first started this practice, I was heavily depressed. I was living in the UK at the time. For those of you who are new to the channel, I live in South Africa now. And I would start every morning in bed, struggling to get out of bed. And I would lie and literally hand on body, and I would just repeat, I'm safe, eyes closed, breathing, until I actually felt like it was true and I felt like I was ready to get out of bed. Some mornings that could be 5 minutes, some mornings it could be 45. And it was really interesting because I created an anchor point that is so strong that even now, no matter what situation I'm in, when I feel triggered and I feel in danger, I can put my hands on my body and my body instantly starts to relax. I can instantly feel my physical body changing its makeup as I do this, because I spent so long creating that anchor point for myself. Now, this becomes really valuable when you're trying to push your comfort zone. So when you're trying to do things that make you feel unsafe, whatever that looks like. At the moment, one of the big things that I'm doing is I'm training to run a marathon. And I'm really struggling because I've had a persistent cough for the last 4 months. And I've had to go on medication for the last 3 weeks. This Thursday will be the last day that I have to take them. And they are really messing with my energy. They're really messing with my breathing, my lung capacity, my ability to run. And it's really difficult because I go from feeling absolutely fine to being so short of breath that I feel like I'm going to hyperventilate in seconds. So I'll be running. I always run with my dad and my husband, so I'm super safe. Like, they would never let anything bad happen to me. I run with water so that I can, you know, drink and keep myself hydrated. But as soon as it happens, I can feel it come on. I can feel the panic, and I literally hands on body and just start taking my, you know, my deeper breaths, and I anchor myself so quickly so that I don't push myself into panic. So using your breath as an anchor and then a meditation, like an affirmation meditation, is so valuable for calming your nervous system and building an anchor point where you can always pull yourself back. Okay, so that's something to think about. The last one is gratitude. Now, I cannot say enough about gratitude. I cannot, because I see so many people posting about gratitude, you know, saying like, write a list of 5 things that you're grateful for. Absolutely do that if that's what you want to do. It's fine. But gratitude doesn't matter if you don't feel it. So if you are just saying like, oh, I'm so grateful for this, and then you're just moving on, and you're not actually letting it sink in and feeling grateful, it's not going to do anything for your nervous system. It's not going to do anything for your capacity growth. So when you're looking at gratitude, rather than making a list of like 100 things you're grateful for, try and focus in on the small things that you're grateful for every day, and really anchor yourself into that gratitude of like letting the like warm fuzzy feeling like expand in your body. As I said, I can literally feel it. It's so crazy. So I used to live in the UK. I'm originally from South Africa. We've moved back home. We went from like, I went from depressed to like super happy, super healthy over a span of like 5 years of doing this nervous system work. I went from heavily in debt to living mortgage free in our dream home, 4 bedrooms, big piece of land with a pool. Like, it's the most incredible journey, and I will never ever stop being grateful for the moments that got me here, for the person that I had to become to get here. And I wake up every day and I, you know, walk down the passage, let the dogs out, feed the dogs, like do all of the things that are like everyday tasks that have to be done. But while I do that, I remind myself why I need to be grateful. I remind myself of all of the incredible success that has come from me leaning into gratitude, because our bodies will focus more on what we focus on. So I don't know if you've ever decided to buy a new car and suddenly you go from having never heard of this car to seeing millions of them on the road. Or you decide to, you know, buy a new outfit and then suddenly you see everyone's wearing a very similar thing. Or when you are pregnant, or when you are starting running, or when you are taking up a hobby, suddenly nobody seemed to do this thing, and as soon as you decide to do it, there's loads of people who are doing the same thing. And it's not that those people didn't exist before. It's not that everyone is, you know, waiting for you to do it and then they're doing it too. It's literally just that your brain can only process so much information. So it goes, this is not important. Yeah, this is not important to me at the moment, so I'm not going to bother with it. So as soon as you make it important, you say, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go buy some running shoes and, you know, start running. Suddenly your body's like, oh my gosh, this thing is important. We need to notice everything to do with this activity. And it works exactly the same with gratitude. The moment that you start focusing in heavily on gratitude is the moment that your whole system goes, this is important, this is something that we want to do, this is something that we need to focus on, so we need to see more of it. We need to see more things that we can be grateful for. We need to see more opportunities, we need to see more positives. And this is so incredible in this idea of how we actually manage our nervous systems. Now, I also want to talk to you guys about 2 ways that you can calm your nervous system. There's 4 in the download, but I'm just going to talk to you about 2 of them. And one of them links really nicely with this idea of gratitude. And this is reducing the scroll. Okay, so reducing the amount of time you just spend on social media looking at people who, you know, you don't feel inspired by, or you don't feel motivated by, or you don't feel are pulling you up or giving you something of value. It's so easy to get lost in all the clickbait of the internet and get lost in this idea of you know, everyone has these like picture perfect lives. Everyone, especially if you're a business owner, like everyone is apparently earning like 10k within like 3 days of being an online business owner. Everyone has apparently got thousands of millions of followers, and you know, people sending them products to test and like all of these things, but they will tell you that they are not influencers, and you know, they are not they don't have huge audiences, and they only work 2 minutes a day to get those results. Like, there's so much on the internet which is detrimental to our own mental health, and you have to make sure that the people that you follow actually genuinely inspire you. Something that I absolutely love, Mel Robbins has a hashtag called Unfollow Fridays, and she basically goes through her account and unfollows anybody that is not bringing value to her life, that is not sharing a message that she feels like she wants to like bring into her consciousness, you know, who's not making her feel like she can expand and grow and live in the world in a way that she wants to. And she limits what she brings into her world. Now, this is something that I've been doing for years. Even before I started my business, I'm not a massive fan of social media. I absolutely get its value in a business, but from a point of view of like a personal profile and my personal life, I only share very limited amounts of my personal life with people. I pick really key things that I want people to know. And this is something that you need to decide in your own life, what you want this to look like with your business, how you want it to cross over, but really limiting how much time you spend in comparison, how much time you spend feeling not good enough, how much time you spend letting your nervous system be triggered by people that you are letting into your world. Yeah, nobody can make you feel anything you don't give them permission to let you, like, to make you feel. So if somebody triggers you, stop following them. If somebody's lifestyle makes you feel like you're lacking, stop following them. You want to follow people who are making you feel like there is possibility. Like there is amazing things to come in life, that, you know, life can be fun, it can be easy, things can be good. And the more that you change that narrative and that story, the more likely you are to increase your nervous system capacity. Because again, what you're focusing on is good rather than lack. Okay, so this is a really big thing that I want you to think about. And I would love, straight after watching this video, go onto your Instagram, go into the little box that says who you're following, and like just delete like 10% of them. Anyone that doesn't align with you, get rid of them. Yeah? Because actually when you're overloading your feed with people who don't align with how you want to feel, you're just making it so much harder to get yourself into a good vibration. And that's not what we're here for. Okay? So that is like a task I want you to write down from this video. The second thing is, and this is something that I am so passionate about, and I think that everyone should do, and that is going to therapy. Like, controversial maybe, not so much in this day and age, but therapy is the most incredible way of dealing with your nervous system. Like, yes, you can do talk therapies, 100%, it's good to talk things through, but the therapy that I absolutely love the most is actually somatic therapy. So spontaneous healing, rapid eye therapy, anything where you are going like deep into your subconscious mind and you are rewriting the program. So I've been doing therapy on and off for the past like 4 years now. We had a lot of death in my family in a very short space of time. We lost 5 family members in like pretty much 18 months, all immediate. Some of them were like grandparents and sort of more expected. Some of them were really unexpected young cousins and people I was really close with. So after going through all of that, I suddenly realized that actually I needed to do something that would help my nervous system, that would help me cope with the trauma that I'd gone through, the trauma that I'd bottled like through that period. And by going through and doing therapy at that point, it shifted everything in my business. It shifted everything. And I made it a non-negotiable. So I moved back to South Africa from the UK. I found a new therapist. I do spontaneous healing therapy here, which is incredible. And I go to therapy at least once a month, sometimes twice a month, depending on what's going on and how busy things are. And it has given me such an incredible gift of increasing my nervous system capacity, of doing big releases of pent up nervous energy that is in my body, of actually making it so much easier for me to respond instead of react, to not feel triggered by external situations, to be able to process through how I'm feeling, what it's bringing up for me, and actually let the emotions just like flow all the way through. So one of my big recommendations is always, if you can and you have access, get into some sort of therapy. It is such an amazing way to increase your own nervous system capacity and make your life so much better. And like with my therapy, it's not talk therapy. We never like sit for an hour and discuss the traumas of my life. We literally just dive into like, what is my body holding on to? What does it need to release? What does it feel ready to kind of let go of? And that's how we process through. So I want you to think about this process, okay? When you are starting a business, you are triggering your nervous system. By creating more capacity and by calming your nervous system and the capacity that you have already, you are making it more possible for you to show up as an authority, for you to share your message, for you to ask for the sale, and for you to actually be able to make an impact in the world. But you have to go first. When it comes to your nervous system, you have to do the work first before you see the results. You have to do the work to get the result that you want, and you have to be willing to not have instant gratification and say, actually, I'm going to do this anchoring for 6 months because I know in a year's time it's going to really kick in and it's going to be, perfect for me. I'm going to learn how to be and feel grateful so that I can expand the capacity. I'm going to actively stop following people to start shifting my mindset of what's possible in the world. You have to actively take a stance in managing your nervous system. So many people are just passive, like bystanders to their nervous system. They get triggered, they live in trigger, that's it, done. Whereas actually what I'm saying to you is, as a business owner, you have a responsibility to not only understand your nervous system, but to do something to increase your capacity, to regulate yourself, and make sure that you're not passing on your own triggers to your clients. So I'm gonna love you and leave you right there. There's so much that we covered in this video. Remember that the guide is below. If you've enjoyed this content, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and I can't wait to bring you some more content next week.